Been a furniture analyst for 42 years after having done some studies on the industry at both the University of Virginia and the College of William and Mary. Since 1974, Jerry has published a monthly newsletter on the furniture and mattress sectors called The Furnishings Digest. Larger studies on the economy, imports, demographics, retail distribution, and other topics are also sold as the Furniture Research Collection. He has also written a column for Furniture Today for the last 2 decades. And his company, Mann, Armstead & Epperson, was founded in 1991 and does mergers, acquisitions, valuations, and other services for the home furnishings industry and other industries as well. So, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Jerry. Jerry, you there?
Bill, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you. I've been looking forward to it. I'm built to a frenzied pitch and just can't wait. Thank you for that nice introduction. It's I couldn't have written it any better. So we're sitting here trying to make sure there's nothing on our screen that shouldn't be on our screen, and hopefully it's not. And again, thanks so very much to both our friends at Nationwide and to Furniture Today for giving me this opportunity to talk. People will tell you I take any opportunity to talk, but I really do appreciate this and the promotions that have been done, and we hope that it's worthwhile, worth everybody's time. I'm sitting here pushing a button and nothing's happening, but other than that, I'm not in my panic mode. There we go. Yay! Thank you. That was my technical support wearing a blue shirt. I won't mention in my name. Let's think about the economy for just a minute. I know that's not a pleasant topic, but thank heavens we're talking now and not 2 months ago. First quarter was tough, and what's unusual about that is that for the last 4 years, the first quarter's been our best quarter of the year. Now, that's not typical if you go back in the American economy. If you go to what we used to call an average year, the second half of the year was always stronger than the first half, and that's for lots of different seasonal reasons, and of course including Christmas and the holidays. But the truth is that our economy for the last 4 years, which has been so disrupted by all the recession-related items, has thrown us into a loop so that we'd have a big first quarter, at least relatively large, and then trail off. That's been very negative for anyone in the home furnishings business for obvious reasons, but this year I'm not so much worried about it. We had a bad first quarter for home furnishings. The consumer had a bad first quarter because of tax reasons and deferred refunds on our tax refunds, and also the fact that the tax refunds were actually lower than they had been the year earlier. All that added up to a bad first quarter, but the truth is April was pretty good, and May was looking really good. And so we're pleased. We think we're going to see some economic growth somewhere this year in the range of 2 to maybe 2.1%, but probably no better than that. But the real reason for encouragement is the driving forces for our business, for the home furnishings business, are finally in play. If you go back for the last, well, since 2007, we have not had housing driving our business. And this is the first economic recovery that we have had since World War II, where housing wasn't what was driving our economy coming out. Thank heavens, it has begun, and we're seeing some absolutely great numbers. If you look at housing permits, and this is March of this year versus a year earlier, permits up 17%, starts up 46%, multifamily up huge. Why? Because we've got so many more people in rental properties. And remember, these people in rental properties want to be in single-family homes. So that transition will occur over the next 3 or 4 years. Housing completions are up nicely because of the build-out that was started almost a year ago. Single-family home sales up nicely, existing home sales up, and as we've all seen recently in the headlines, our existing home inventories are down. In fact, in some areas, people are having real difficulty finding a home to buy. And I was talking to a friend just last week and his daughter lives in Washington, D.C., and she's put bids in on 3 houses, and all of them sold away from her. So that is, that's a real challenge for some people, but the other real benefit is that our home prices are going up. And there are 2 benefits to that. Number 1, it makes the consumer feel wealthier. And number 2, every time homes go up in price, that means that certain homes are no longer underwater on the mortgage rate. But don't look at most of your housing statistics. Nationally, they're looking great. But remember, housing is local. And what's important to you is your local housing numbers. And some regions are very, very strong, others not so. Oddly enough, we're seeing some big gains in those states that were most hard hit. Florida, California, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan. These are bouncing back stronger. Why? Because they were hardest hit. Those states that did not see the sharp declines during the recession aren't seeing the big gains. It actually makes sense when you think about it. Excuse me, I'm going to yell for my assistant. Hey, Jen, would you come here a second? Forgive me, folks. This little thing keeps popping up, and I want to get rid of it. This has come up about 4 times now. Is there an easy way to get rid of it forever? Thank you. All right. He's smarter than I am. Okay. Now, let's look at our specific statistics for the furniture and mattress industry. Again, the first quarter stunk. I don't know a nicer way of saying that. If you look at the last 12 months, we were making some decent gains in total consumption, which is all routes of distribution. Furniture store sales were trending up through January. And then the last few months, that January, February, March, were very disappointing. Look at mattress shipments, which had been doing very well. Last year, mattress shipments ended up being about up 10.9% if you consider everything. We certainly didn't see that in the early part of this year. But the real reason is the first quarter of last year was so extraordinarily strong. I don't think anyone expected to beat it this year. Already in April, we've seen the numbers turn around. Monthly numbers in mattress sales were up in dollar terms about 8.5% in April. I think we'll find they will be up more than that in May. The exceptionally strong Memorial Day holiday, I'm having a hard time finding anybody that didn't do well on Memorial Day, so I think that's going to be very positive. The only negative about Memorial Day is that we have taught the American public to wait for the big sale weekends. And unfortunately, we can't blame anybody but ourselves for that. The auto industry has done basically the same thing. The electronics industry has done the same thing. The American public has been taught if you're going to make a big ticket purchase, wait until a holiday weekend and you'll get the best deal. If we're going to spread our business out, we need to learn to do this a little more regularly, but I wish I had an easy fix. JCPenney, as we're all very much aware, tried to go to a single pricing policy, but it didn't work, and it didn't work in a really visible, loud way. One of the most interesting things about the JCPenney experience is one of their biggest competitors did a big study with the American public about sales. And what they found out was the American public would rather pay $11.95 for a shirt marked down from $15.95 than to pay $11 all the time. Now think about that for a minute. They pay a little bit more thinking they're getting a deal than a lower price all the time. A lot of that has to do with the shopping experience, the adventure, the feeling that you've had a real accomplishment in getting something at a deal or getting a good price, and that you've done your homework in making the purchase. All that goes into it. And it's one of the real exciting parts of our business is that we have this ability. If everybody out there was just selling at a single price all the time, it would be more difficult for us to come out and really create a stir, create a sense of urgency. So I think it's one of the exciting things about our business. Now, mattresses, as we can see, have outperformed in this recovery. Yeah, they got creamed in 2008 and 2009, but they're well above where they were in 2005 and 2006. Upholstered furniture has done better than wood, but think about that for a minute. Upholstered furniture goes in the public rooms of a home. It's what you see. It's also the most fashionable item in the home. Wood furniture is the most expensive. It's the biggest ticket. And your wood furniture, bedroom furniture particularly, goes into the more private rooms in the home. So the American public historically has spent a little more money in their public rooms trying to make sure that everybody sees them in the best light. Also, upholstered furniture has a higher wear cycle. We think that we're heading into a period of time over the next 2 years where wood furniture is going to begin to make a big recovery. And the reason is very simple: more housing activity. The American public, historically, as they have moved, have tended to add bedrooms. And as we get more and more people moving from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 bedroom homes, the primary bedroom usually gets relegated to a secondary use and a new primary bedroom is bought. So we think over the next 2 years we'll see wood furniture come back to about the same proportion it was before the recession, driven primarily by housing activity. So keep that in mind in terms of allocation of square footage and in the allocation of square footage, not just on your floor, but in your advertising. Some good things going on. We've got higher home sales. A real key to home sales is to remember that our homes in the United States tend to be bought between April and October. The home sales in November through February are virtually none. Regardless of what the national statistics tell you on a seasonally adjusted annual rate, people buy in the summer, move in the summer, and decorate in the fall. Historically, we've done from 47 to 48% of our sales in the second half of the year because people move and then buy. Housing activity historically has made up 20% of our business. So we'll get a benefit this year from the housing activity this summer. And that's one of the reasons we're very positive about this year. Secondly, we're beginning to see higher birth rates. The birth rates troughed last year. We only had about 3.8 million births. That's down from 4.2 million before the recession. That number has turned. We're going to have higher birth rates in the second half of this year and in the next several years, driven, of course, by the younger population. So that means there's going to be more demand for infant and youth furniture. There's a major recovery in household formations. Not just are young people completing their educations, going out and starting their own households, but some of them are finally leaving their parents' home. 19% of people under the age of 34 have yet to leave their parents' home the first time. Another 14% left and came back. They're leaving. They're finding jobs, and they're moving to find jobs. They're migrating to other areas, other regions to find jobs. So we've seen that movement, that migration in the American population that we haven't had for the last 5 years. We had a minimal spring on the East Coast, a very cold spring, and that hurt outdoor furniture sales, but it should make for a longer season. We think it'll be a better season as we head on. And let's see. And as I call for technical support, Jen, I'm in a panic. I'm hitting a little button and nothing's happening. Oh my gosh. And in comes technical support wearing a blue shirt. Got any suggestions? Yay! I tell you, he's a wizard. Thank you, sir. Isn't it nice to have young people around? Further trends. Going to see more interest in larger ticket wood furniture. Again, part of that is because of housing activity, but the other part is because of credit availability. Credit availability is much better than it was a year ago, dramatically better than what it was in 2009 and 2010. And remember, the consumers have paid off a lot of debt as well, a surprising amount of debt. So they've got the capacity to be able to go out and make these purchases. And don't forget, they don't have to move from house to house. We're seeing a big, big increase in home improvements and additions. And that's also a major factor. Some people don't want to change residence. They want to stay in the same location. They love their neighborhood, but they've got to grow because their household's growing. Now, what isn't 2013? It's not an election year. So that means advertising is cheaper. Keep that in mind this year. Your media are more open to dealing this year because they don't have those politicians out there buying up all their time. Secondly, it's not a big year for major new consumer electronics. The big two new things we're looking at this year are 2 new gaming systems that will come out in the second half of the year. Gaming systems historically have been very positive for furniture sales, big plus towards going for more media and big TV sales, but we're not going to see anything dramatically new this year. We're looking forward to, in 2014 and 15, the new 4G TVs and some other things, but that's not happening this year. We're not going to see a big increase in auto sales. Auto and truck sales are running at a very healthy rate, but we're not going to see those big gains this year. But we're also looking for gas prices to stay within a narrow range. Between $3.20 and about $3.85 is what the experts are calling for right now. As long as we don't break into new highs above $4 a gallon, I think the American public has adjusted pretty well to where gas prices are. And we're not expecting any big economic surprises up or down. You never know, but right now we don't see anything there. We're not looking for any big fiscal cliff type discussions or anything of that nature. We will see a spending compromise reached in late September, but we don't see having the major media problem that we had last year. The challenges in your business, keeping your mattress prices up. We're distressed to see people selling mattresses at discounts, especially your non-innersprings. This makes no sense. One of the things that's helped the mattress industry so much is we've been stepping people up into better and better margins, up to better and better prices. It's not at all uncommon for people to be selling $3,000 to $5,000 mattresses, and they have wonderful margins. For us to start deep discounting these or offering lower priced alternatives, we're hurting ourselves. I'm not sure I understand that. Why would you sell a $4.99 mattress or lower instead of a $1,500 mattress? And again, the consumers have been talked about these. We need another big challenge is how do you reach a consumer that doesn't watch network TV, doesn't read newspapers, doesn't listen to their car radio, and they only do cable TV on demand if they do that? Well, it is a big challenge. And oddly enough, we're getting back to a whole new appreciation for such things as direct mail. We're getting into people spending a lot more time and effort on the physical presentation of their own facility, into invitations and contests and different events in the store. All that's going to come about. We also are educating a whole new generation, a huge generation, the children of my group, the children of the baby boomers, on how to buy furniture and decorate. They don't know how because we haven't taught them. But don't kill the golden goose in your mattress department. It's not at all unusual for a furniture store to have mattresses be 12 to 15% of the dollar volume of the store and as much as a third of the profits. It's that important. So please don't hurt that. Most important these days, the store image, your presence on the street, your signage, your interior display is your #1 advertising expense. Look at it that way. People drive by your store, and if it doesn't look very appealing, they're not going to come in. It should be a very, very high focus. And remember, as the, quote, brands have taken more and more of the brands out of the individual stores, just like we've got Lazy Boy stores and Ashley stores and Bassett stores and Thomasville stores and so forth. As that happens, your store has to become, more importantly, your own brand. Promote your own brand and be sure and reinforce it all the time. Embrace the smartphone shoppers by educating your salespeople. At the National Retail Federation recently, there was the whole idea of people coming in and showrooming in different stores was just absolutely the hot topic. What if somebody comes in and is taking pictures of your product or going in and reading the tags and trying to find it online? Walmart has started something they call the endless aisle. And they know they can't carry everything. So what they do is if you come in there and you look for something, they want you to find it. They want you to find the alternatives and buy it online while you're in store. We need to keep that exact concept in mind. We, meaning our furniture retailers, go to the markets in High Point and Las Vegas. We spend big money there. We spend a lot of time, and we choose what to put on our retail floors. We choose that. We're educated. We know what to look for. We know what our customers like. We know what they'll buy. Start telling your customers that. We have chosen. We have been very pleased to go out and find the best in terms of the styles for the local folks, the best values. We do that for you. But if you don't like it, we'll find you something else. That's something we can do that the internet can't. We can help you find what you need. Also, don't forget the step-up sales. If you sell a sofa, you really should sell the matching rug. If you sell a mattress, please, please don't forget to add the bed top. That is a high-margin business, and everything in your store should have a matching sale, and there should be special incentives to get people to do that. Go ahead. Also, keep in mind that customers like dealing with their peers. Young people prefer to deal with young people, and women like to shop with women. I think that we need to recognize that, and that should change our mix of salespeople. Also, if you run an independent furniture store, please don't sell the same thing that the Ashley Home Store, the Rooms to Go, the Value Cities. Please don't sell the same thing that they do. They're very good at what they do, but they are limited. They're happy to sell you what they have in the color they have because they've got a lot of inventory backup on what you have. Don't sell the same thing they do. Don't try to out Rooms to Go. Do something different. Carry different merchandise. Give an alternative to the consumer so that they don't have to buy the same thing everybody else has. Learn from Nationwide Marketing in your associations what's available. The ideas that are presented at the primetime functions that Nationwide Marketing has are excellent. Same thing at the markets in High Point and Las Vegas. The educational seminars are just as important a reason to go as anything else, and you need to find out what other people are doing that works for them. Plan to refresh or move your floor samples at least quarterly. Studies have shown that if the American consumer comes into a furniture store or almost any other store and sees the same thing twice, they'll never go in the store again. So even if you only replace, say, 20% of your store every year, make sure it's changed. Make sure it's fresh in how they see it when they come in the door. Secondly, tell consumers what you offer. Never, ever assume that in your ads that the consumer knows that you carry grandfather clocks or you carry youth furniture or you carry anything else. Way too often consumers tell us that they shop somewhere, and when you ask them why they didn't go to this store or that store, they say, well, we didn't know they carried it. It happens all the time. Also, when you go to the High Point market, the Las Vegas market, any of the markets, or to the Nationwide markets that they have with their primetime events, go to new showrooms. You don't know what else is new. We get a little lazy in buying from people we've bought from in the past. You need to see what somebody else has that's new. The redundancy that's out there on the retail floor is very disturbing. And again, we need to get away from that. Show something different. I suggest that you, as a store owner, as a leader in your store, please listen to complaints. Consumers want to have input, and you can't fix it if you don't know what's broken. Secondly, your store is your brand. You've got to increase your profile locally. You might identify a person. It might be you. It might be someone else in your store, to let them be the identity with the local media and let them have a conversation with the local newspaper, radio, and TV and tell them what's going on, what new styles you're seeing. Give them some visual input that you bring back from the markets. Do that, and they will call on you. The newspapers, the radio, and the TV all wake up every day and have to fill a lot of space and a lot of time. They'd appreciate your help. And study and learn about Amazon and eBay and the way they do things. We can take advantage of that. We can do things better than they can. And never, ever let anyone leave your store without offering to help them find what they need. Because if they can't find it, it's very frustrating. Help them find it. Sometimes it's a hassle. We'd all rather sell what's sitting on the floor, what's in the warehouse. But if you can help them find something and go that extra mile, they'll never forget you. They'll be a customer who comes back. Well, we've run up about 25 minutes. The August 11th through the 14th in Grapevine, Texas, which I think is just north of the Fort Worth, Dallas airport, is the next primetime conference. I've been blessed with the opportunity to go a couple of these now, and I'm blown away at the technology that they show, the way the product is displayed, the new products that I've seen. Speaking as somebody that's been going to furniture shows since the 1960s, I loved going to them, if nothing else, just to learn about lawnmowers and appliances and the latest in consumer electronics, things I don't get to see very often. But the educational courses are really the big value items. So if you can, go to this primetime conference. It's well worth your time. A good friend of mine, and I know you find this hard to believe, a good friend of mine who I've known all my career, we're about the same age, and bless his heart, he's about as cheap as anyone's ever been. I saw him at one of the nationwide primetime groups, and I said, "What are you doing here?" And he looked at me and he said, "I can't afford not to be here." And I thought that was a good comment, so I like that. Bill, I've just about used my time. What you got going on?
Well, Jerry, I'd just like to thank you for that very informative presentation and then your kind words on Nationwide. We've had quite a few questions come through, so if you're open, let's do some Q&A, Jerry.
Well, first of all, yes, ladies, I am married. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay. All right, Jerry, what is the biggest mistake you see in furniture store displays?
People put the good stuff next to the cheap stuff. It makes the good stuff look too expensive. It makes the cheap stuff look cheap. Years ago, I walked through a Home Life store in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it had just opened, and the manager was somebody I happened to know. I knew from a former store where they used to work, and they were so proud, and they walked me through the store, and they had a autotronic bear playing a piano. It was broken, of course, and the voice didn't match the movement. But other than that, he said, what do you, isn't this a beautiful store? I said, yeah, it is, but it's laid out terribly. And you have to remember the way consumers shop. And I can still remember going through his youth line, and you need to start off with your least expensive youth line and then show for a few dollars more you can get these features, and for a few dollars more you can get these features. And then you walk them up to show them the good stuff. Don't ever put the two side by side. And there's a reason you do that. It makes sense for the consumer, and it justifies the consumer spending more and not walking out of the store with the least expensive thing. It's the most frustrating thing I see in almost every store, where they don't pay attention to that simple rule that Al Levy taught me in the early 70s. And I really think it's something that everybody needs to be aware of and be careful about.
Very good. Jerry, you spoke quite a bit on bedding. There's been a number of bedding questions that came through. One of them is sleep benefits versus price in mattresses. Can the two be combined?
Without question. To be blunt, the mattress area is the health category within our store. It's the one area where we've got something different to pitch other than comfort and style and price. It's an opportunity to describe to the consumer how valuable is sleep, how cheap the mattress is relative to how much time you're going to spend on it, and how important it is to your well-being, And it's a way that we can combine those items and move them up into better merchandise. And we're not doing that just to help ourselves. We're doing it to help our consumer, because if they get better sleep, they're more productive, they live a happier life. Selling somebody the least expensive mattress that is not comfortable and is not going to last isn't doing anybody any favors. Go on and sell them something that when you go home, you can take comfort that they got something that's right for them.
Gotcha. You know, talking about here's a good one. I thought this was a good follow-up to that. I have 6 mattress chains in my community. Should I reduce my focus in mattresses?
Oh, goodness, no. Oh, if anything, you should expand it. And the reason is very simple. I remember my friend Hyman Myers, who ran Heilig Myers in its most successful days. He didn't like going into any community where he didn't have at least one and hopefully 2 or 3 competitors. And the reason is you don't want to be the only one advertising creating demand. You want to be among others. If the consumer is triggered by whether it's your advertising or promotions or somebody else's, you want to be included among those that are shopped. So a lot of furniture stores have a bigger sleep department, a bigger mattress department than any other store in town, any of the specialty stores. Do they advertise it? Do they promote it? And if you've got the biggest assortment of any of the brands, promote that. Why let these guys, just because they're specialty stores, give the impression that they've got a bigger or better or more important department than you do? You shouldn't give up on that.
Very good. All right. Here's one. Do I need to sell all categories of furniture and bedding?
No, I don't think so. We all do some things better than others. And I think you need to look at the mix in your floor. You need to evaluate what people come to you for. And I'm seeing more and more people just say, look, we do a really good job with upholstery, but we just don't seem to get people's attention with cases. I could make an argument that you can focus and just do an upholstery store and make sure you carry everything. Make sure you carry an abundance of fabric and not just solid colors. Our microfibers and our leathers have really taken over, and too often we have floors that have just solids. You know, make a special effort there. There are categories that are underserved in your community. It might be youth, it might be storage, it might be any number of things. Look for that and utilize that, but most of all, tell the consumer you got it. You can't just put it on your floor and expect the consumer to find it. You've got to go out and tell them that it's there and invite them to come see it. Give them a reason to come see it.
Very good. All right, you touched on the economy. Here's one. Unemployment is still high. Doesn't that discourage spending in big-ticket items?
Every day that goes by, unemployment's getting better. But even if it doesn't, and there are certainly communities around where employment continues to be worse than the national averages, you got to realize that these consumers in that town have gone longer without making the traditional furniture purchase than they have at any time in the since the Depression. And a lot of those people are ready to go out and buy. They've probably bought cars. They've paid off debt. They're ready to buy again if you just give them a reason to do it. And are there too many people unemployed? Yes. But I'll give you a tip. If you wait until the unemployment rate gets to where everybody's comfortable, you will have missed the entirety of the recovery. You got to go out and reach those people who want to buy. And Bill, let me tell you, years ago, my wife and I lived next door to a wonderful family. He was a salesperson for one of the steel companies. And Kathy and I had a good year, and I was going to buy her a new car, and we were out shopping for the new car, and it pretty much decided. We came home that night, and our next door neighbor came over and told us he'd just been laid off from his job, and he had one kid in college and one kid getting ready to go to college, and I felt so sorry for him. We didn't buy that new car. We put it off because we kind of felt bad after what was going on with him. You don't have to be the one unemployed to suffer with your neighbors and your friends who also are unemployed. But at some point in time, you're going to begin to see your neighbors and friends begin to make purchases, and that makes you feel more comfortable too. Don't stop promoting, because when the day comes, you better have the ads out there that these people see when they're ready to spend again. And I think they're ready to spend again. This is going to be a good year for housing, and that's going to create a lot of demand for our products. Certainly the best that we've had since 2007.
Yeah, I agree. We're looking forward to that. You know, Jerry, one of the other things you talked about was the add-on sale, and that's one of the things that we focus on at Nationwide as well. This is a good question. Is how to sell more mattress accessories. How do I do that? Pillows, performance sheets, mattress protectors, bed tops, etc.
Have you ever seen it in an ad? Nobody promotes that stuff. Nobody. They just assume the consumer knows when they come in it's going to be available. Somebody needs to let the consumer know that you've got the bed top. And let's face it, look at the bed top combinations we've got today that weren't even a merchandise option. The furniture stores I grew up with, you did not have that as an option years ago. You just bought something and used it as decorations. You didn't sell it. Now it's a big profit center. Make sure the consumer knows you got it. And you ought to promote that you've got the pillows. You've got the bed top. You've got the all of the decorations to make your bedroom special and to bring the health benefits of these different items. That has to be promoted. Just don't promote mattresses. Promote that you've got the entire department to make your bedroom as healthy and as attractive as you can possibly imagine. I think it's a very exciting category.
I agree 100%. You know, another thing that you spoke about was the new shoppers, the millennials, et cetera. I liked this question because I thought it led into that is, how important are in-store videos to educate and motivate shoppers?
Bill, I've seen them. Every store we go into, they've got TVs on. They're running. One of the worst things that can happen to you is to go into a store and for you to be standing there trying to talk to a consumer and your competitor's ad comes on. One of the nicest things I've seen was at your prime time. You have those kiosk televisions, the 32-inch TVs, and you control and move those around, and they'll tell the story. I remember last time I was in, you had there was a catnapper, a gentleman from Catnapper talking about Catnapper and the feature of their chairs, and it was in the middle of the Catnapper space at prime time. You know, those are just perfect. You're educating that consumer while they're in that department, and you find somebody that really knows what they're talking about. That's really a plus. I mean, a fantastic plus in every floor, and they're very inexpensive from what you told me, and they can be easily reprogrammed and moved from department to department. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal for us. So, all right, we got time for one, maybe two more if you're up.
Oh, sure.
Don't worry about exclusive products.
Well, exclusives are always good, but remember one of the reasons all the big boys, the rooms to goes and all those, one of the reasons they go to market early is they want to lock up certain lines that they have to have. And that's fine. If that's important to them, let them have it. It's not like there's a shortage of furniture, and it's not like there's ever been any single line of furniture that came out that was so daggone hot that we'd suffer without it, even Louis Philippe. But I tell you, the real key is to, one, find things that they don't offer. Again, don't compete with the big boys. Don't try to carry the same thing they do. Carry something different. But when you go to the markets and you really are focusing on what you need, try to find a few things that are so totally distinctive, so dramatically different that people will remember them and give your store some credit for being creative, for being different, and in some ways that will be exclusive. Nationwide has some exclusive items. I think, Bill, you obviously know a lot more about it than I do, that you are buying that are brands that will be exclusive and products that will be exclusive only for the Nationwide team, or the Nationwide members. So that's available to them that there's not available to other retailers around the country.
Absolutely. Definitely gives them the competitive advantage. All right, Jerry, we got about 3 minutes. How about we do one more quick question if you're up for that? We'll go back to bedding. Back to bedding. Long-term low interest rate financing versus instant rebate on mattress sales. Your thoughts?
When I look at the instant rebates on cars, I just say, well, that's the price they would have charged me anyway. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, when we look at furniture, people tend to think of it in terms of the payments. And so I think offering the payment terms that are convenient, and, a lot of people now are looking at it and saying, this is, so much per day. You're paying 15 cents a day, you're paying 30 cents a day to be able to sleep on the really good stuff. I think that appeals to the consumer in a big, big way. One other thing while I'm thinking about it, I'm encouraging stores now. Let's just say you have a bedroom. Let's just say you have a sofa, and let's just say it's a Klausner sofa. I know they have a nice display at your prime times. You got a Klausner sofa. Tell your people to tell the consumer when looking at that sofa that Klausner has, I don't know the real number, 900 sofas in their line, 900 frames, and we chose this one because we think it's the best. And we chose this fabric because we think it looks so good on this frame. And that this was chosen, this is chosen by a professional buyer that understands this market and understands, this area's taste. We need to make people realize that what we show on our floors was chosen because it's the right thing at the right time, it's fashionable, it's exciting, that this isn't just there by chance. This isn't just somebody came by and dumped a load of furniture in the front door. This was chosen to be there by professionals, and out of all these choices, we chose these items. Now, if you don't like these items, don't leave us. We'll find you something you do like. But we need to get across that these items that are on these floors were chosen for a reason, and that's because they're fresh, they're exciting, and high value.
Great. All right, we're about out of time. Jerry, thank you so very, very much. It's always a pleasure.
Bill, I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank Nationwide and Furniture Today for this opportunity. I wanted to mention that if there are email questions that I didn't get to, if you'll let me have them, I'll make my best effort to get them out. If anybody wants our newsletter, just get in touch with any of our friends at Nationwide, and we'll get you the newsletter every month. It's free and well worth the price. And I think everybody gets a home-centric report for signing up for this, so I hope they find that useful, and I hope that I'm real excited about the opportunities. And, of course, Man Armistead and Epperson's here to help if we can in any way, and we can't tell you how flattered we are at this.
Well, thank you again, Jerry. And on behalf of everyone at Nationwide Furniture Today and Jerry Epperson, we'd like to thank everyone for coming today and let everyone know that the session was recorded, and it will also be available for viewing within 24 hours. You'll also, each registrant will receive a link to the recording so that you can access it that way. If you'd like more information on Nationwide Marketing Group, please visit us at www.nationwidemarketinggroup.org to learn more. And again, thank you for coming, and everyone have a great day.